Welcome to Lento English. Ready to boost your English skills? Here we dive into stories delivered slowly, clearly, and with enjoyment. Listen in, unwind, and savor the adventure. Nationwide, crowds assembled in various spots. They felt dissatisfied with the administration. They headed to open areas in urban and rural centers to express their emotions. These were massive assemblies of folks known as demonstrations. A wide array of individuals attended these demonstrations. They held diverse occupations and resided in varied locations. Yet, they united over common concerns regarding the administration's moves. These folks carried a core slogan. They chanted it and displayed placards bearing the phrase, "Hands off." This slogan targeted the administration. It signaled their demand for the administration to cease specific activities. They urged the administration to heed the public's voice. The demonstrations occurred during Donald Trump's presidency. This marked his second stint as the leader of the United States. President Trump is a political figure. Prior to his presidential role, he was a prominent entrepreneur and appeared on TV shows. Numerous demonstrations specifically addressed his administration's proposals and choices. Citizens opposed several of these proposals. Another key figure linked to these demonstrations was Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an immensely renowned entrepreneur. He's celebrated for his firms, producing electric vehicles and launching spacecraft. At that period, Elon Musk collaborated intimately with the administration. Certain individuals disapproved of this. They fretted over a tycoon wielding significant influence in administrative choices. They viewed this as improper. So what sparked these demonstrations? Several factors fueled them. The demonstrations erupted shortly after. President Trump launched his fresh tenure. Some citizens feared job losses. This hit hardest for those employed by the administration. Proposals aimed to slash numerous federal positions. Others fretted over policies concerning immigration. The influx of newcomers to the nation. They rejected the administration's directives. The alliance between President Trump and Elon Musk emerged as a major trigger for participation in demonstration. They sensed these influential figures were crafting choices that overlooked everyday citizens. On a specific Saturday, the demonstrations swelled enormously and spanned widely. Organizers coordinated gatherings in countless venues. Accounts indicated over 300 distinct demonstration sites on that solitary day. This highlighted the intense sentiments driving people to step out and amplify their views. This segment offers a primer on this era of dissent. It outlines the context and the primary figures, President Trump and Elon Musk. We'll delve deeper into the demonstration triggers in subsequent story sections. What is the primary slogan folks were chanting at the demonstrations? A, hello. B, more parks. C, hands off. D, good morning. The answer is C, hands off. 2, demonstrations nationwide. The demonstrations unfolded throughout the land. Participants didn't confine themselves to one or two major metropolises. They convened in numerous locales on that shared Saturday. This pivotal action day appeared to be the grandest demonstration occasion in ages. It was undoubtedly the broadest demonstration. Surge since the president initiated his second tenure. Countless individuals aimed to voice their sentiments. From the eastern seaboard to the western edge, urban centers buzzed with marchers. They brandished banners with their declarations. Vast throngs packed the avenues of Atlanta, Georgia. Washington, D.C., the federal hub, brimmed with activists crowding the venues. Up north, assemblies formed in Boston, Massachusetts. In the heartland, Chicago, Illinois, hosted its gatherings. St. Paul, Minnesota's seat of power, featured a massive occurrence. On the Pacific side, thousands opted for a major assembly in Portland, Oregon. It wasn't solely megacities that witnessed demonstrations. Modest communities also saw residents emerging to convey their views. For instance, in Silva, a compact locale in North Carolina, over 300 assembled. This illustrated that residents across community scales, grand and humble, sought to engage in the demonstrations. The sentiment extended beyond U.S. borders. In Europe, supporters voiced solidarity. A demonstration unfolded in Berlin, Germany's central city. Coordinators labored to tally every event. They announced exceeding 300 individual assemblies on that lone Saturday. These occasions varied in scale. Some ballooned massively with thousands overwhelming thoroughfares. Others were modest clusters in neighborhood hamlets, perhaps mere hundreds strong. Yet all these demonstrations synchronized on that vital day. They all echoed the identical straightforward slogan, "Hands off." This concise declaration appeared on banners and resounded in calls across myriad sites. Demonstrations erupted in each of the 50 American states. In Minnesota, for one, occurrences dotted around 30 urban and rural spots. It was evident that diverse residents from assorted locales sensed the urgency to vocalize in unison. The vast demonstration tally revealed the hands-off campaign's vast sweep. Domestically and internationally, who are the two pivotal figures noted in this segment? A physician and an educator. B, President Donald Trump and Elon Musk. C, two renowned vocalists. D, a law enforcer and a rescuer. B, President Donald Trump and Elon Musk. 3, demonstration motives. Folks participated in the hands-off demonstrations for varied motives. They hailed from assorted origins and fretted over distinct matters. However, they united under one central slogan. They opposed particular administrative schemes and steps. They implored the administration to refrain from meddling in these domains. A major anxiety centered on administrative initiatives broadly. Citizens perceived the administration enacting harmful shifts. This encompassed anxieties over employment. Numerous individuals dreaded unemployment due to the administrative scheme to eliminate countless federal roles. Demonstrators addressed reductions impacting aid for ex-service members, those who served in armed forces. One individual noted that slashing 83,000 roles, aiding ex-service members, was unjust. Certain administrative staff relayed poignant tales of redundancies, despite solid performance. Alterations to national immigration guidelines formed another demonstration driver. Many contested the administration's immigrant-related stances and measures. This proved a key motivator for numerous marchers. Citizens also probed why the tycoon, Elon Musk, partnered so tightly with the administration. Some demonstrators sensed ultra-wealthy figures like him and the president exerted excessive sway. They labeled this anxiety a billionaire takeover. They deemed this inequitable. Countless individuals demonstrated over fears of reductions in vital communal offerings. They fretted over diminished funding for schooling and academies. They agonized over healthcare aid trims that citizens require. Citizens also fretted over reduced backing for creative fields like tunes and visuals and for preserved natural reserves. Reductions in research funding sparked further unease. In one urban center, demonstrators rallied post an imprisoned scholarly investigator by administrative operatives. Safeguarding citizen liberties mattered greatly to many demonstrators. Some paraded to champion liberties for females and ethnic minorities. Others fretted over electoral liberties. They contended these liberties faced assaults and required defense to sustain national democracy. Citizens also demonstrated over perils to employee liberties and equitable handling. Anxieties over diminished safeguards for gender-diverse individuals arose too. They sought security and equity for these cohorts. All these assorted anxieties over employment, offerings, equity, and liberties unified participants. They aimed for the administration to absorb their slogan. Hands off. Where did the demonstrations occur? Solely in Washington, D.C. Only in Berlin. C. In merely 2 urban centers. D. In numerous urban centers like Atlanta and Chicago. D. In numerous urban centers like Atlanta and Chicago. 4. Demonstrations in Minnesota. Numerous Minnesotans engaged in the demonstrations as well. The state's largest demonstration transpired in St. Paul. St. Paul serves as Minnesota's administrative core. The demonstration unfolded outdoors, the grand state edifice, on a Saturday midday. Throngs upon throngs converged there. The count? Initial accounts pegged 14,000 attendees. Subsequently, event coordinators tallied roughly 80,000 souls. It formed an immense assemblage. This ranked as Minnesota's premier demonstration since President Trump's second tenure commenced in January. It also stood as St. Paul's most substantial such assembly in about 8 years. Attendees flocked to St. Paul for sundry motives. Yet they echoed the hands-off slogan. They sought to signal their dissent toward administrative schemes and steps. Certain individuals voiced their attendance rationale. One female ethnic minority member deemed presence essential. She declared, "Appear and advocate for our liberties." Another elaborated, "I'm profoundly irritated, and we must drive the shifts." Some aimed to model resilience for offspring amid challenges. Certain demonstrators harbored deep employment anxieties. An ex-Marine male voiced his alarm. He addressed schemes to trim VA roles. The VA denotes the administrative branch aiding post-service troops. He deemed axing 83,000 VA roles a dire misstep. He insisted the nation ought to bolster its ex-service members, not diminish their aid. Citizens also fretted over additional administrative employments. Roughly 18,000 Minnesotan administrative staff faced redundancies. One individual relayed a grievous account. They witnessed diligent peers dismissed despite stellar evaluations. Then the narrator suffered identical fate. Citizens fretted over further essentials too. They agonized over newcomer entry protocols termed immigration stances. They interrogated Mr. Musk's administrative ties. Some fretted over electoral liberties. One demonstrator asserted electoral liberties underpin democratic nations. Others fretted over eroded safeguards for gender-variant individuals. They desired universal security. Demonstrations transcended St. Paul. Assemblies dotted about 30. Minnesotan urban centers that day. Duluth, another Minnesotan hub, hosted a demonstration too. Notable officials addressed the Grand St. Paul Assembly. Senator Amy Klobuchar attended. Representative Betty McCollum addressed the throng. They assured demonstrators their pleas resonated. In Duluth, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison addressed participants. Myriad Minnesotans statewide sought vocal amplification. They implored the administration to heed their anxieties. What troubled participants? A. Excessive sunlight. B. Zoo. Creatures. C. Administrative. Schemes and steps. D. Novel produce. Varieties. C. Administrative. Schemes and steps. 5. Anxieties. Overemployment and funds. Countless demonstrators fretted over employment and finances. They agonized over administrative economic blueprints. A prime unease involved employments. Citizens learned of schemes to eliminate vast administrative roles. Some demonstrators highlighted trims to roles aiding ex-service members. One asserted axing 83,000 VA roles. The ex-troop aid hub was profoundly misguided. He contended the nation should uphold its ex-service members, not erode their support. Certain individuals recounted intimate tales. One described observing workplace allies dismissed. These peers toiled diligently with exemplary assessments. Yet, the administration cited subpar output for their exits. Subsequently, the storyteller endured the same. Solely in Minnesota, circa 18,000 administrative staff bore the brunt of trims. These dismissals bred widespread alarm and ire. Funding for seniors and aid recipients formed another unease. Demonstrators fretted over schemes to shutter Social Security hubs. Social Security furnishes funds to elders and others. Citizens feared these alterations would exacerbate hardships. The administration countered these fears. The executive residence affirmed. President Trump would eternally shield initiatives like Social Security for eligible recipients. Yet demonstrators persisted in fretting over equity and adequacy. Citizens also rallied against research funding trims. In Boston, activists signaled opposition to diminished outlays for novel insights and concepts. They deemed this endeavor crucial nationally. Another major unease involved affluent influencers. Certain demonstrators in spots like Portland dubbed the scenario an illicit billionaire seizure. They sensed President Trump and tycoon Elon Musk wielded undue command. They fretted these dominants crafted inequitable choices. Elon Musk engaged in schemes to slim the administration. He claimed his efforts conserved taxpayer funds. Yet myriad demonstrators sensed these shifts chiefly, aided the affluent and potent while harming routine laborers and essential offerings. Let's explore fresh terms. Protest noun definition. When crowds convene outdoors to signal discontent or fury toward governmental or corporate deeds, they may vocalize or brandish placards. The pupils staged a protest seeking reduced class sizes. Gather verb definition. To assemble in a shared spot alongside others. Let's assemble by the large timepiece at 5:00. 6. Anxieties over liberties and directives. The grand demonstrations transcended employments and finances. Myriad citizens fretted over their liberties too. They sensed core national directives shifting detrimentally. Certain demonstrators believed democracy's foundational tenets teetered. Democracy signifies citizen-led governance with public input. A major unease involved balloting. Some sensed voting grew arduous universally. They claimed electoral liberties endured assaults. They insisted universal electoral liberties ensure national equity and democracy. Citizens sought to shield every resident's unfettered, impartial leadership selection. Other demonstrators rallied for cohort liberties. Some addressed femaleness or ethnic identity. They deemed visibility vital to secure their liberties. They desired uniform handling. Anxieties over gender-variant safeguards arose, too. Certain demonstrators claimed the administration plotted, diminished prior protections for gender variance. They sought universal security and parity. These fears occasionally materialized starkly. For instance, in Boston, a scholarly investigator faced detention. Federal operatives seized her sans uniform. This incident amplified demonstrator fears over security and equitable administrative conduct. Citizens fretted over laborers, too. Certain demonstrators addressed perils to workforce liberties. Workforce liberties denote job protections like equitable wages and secure environs. They sensed these liberties waned. They viewed this as symptomatic of broader inequity. For myriad demonstrators, these liberty and directive anxieties proved paramount. They sensed vocalization, essential to defend democracy and ensure equitable legal handling. Let's explore fresh terms. Concerned, adjective definition. Experiencing unease over something. My instructor fretted as I skipped homework. Rights, noun, plural definition. Legal entitlements permitting actions or possessions. Equitable universals. Youth possess entitlements like scholarly. Access 7. Officials and formal responses. Officials denote governmental workers. Certain officials visited demonstrations. They addressed throngs. They aimed to signal alignment or convey personal perspectives on the scenario. Their orations enriched select assemblies in St. Paul, Minnesota. The demonstration loomed vast. 2 prominent Minnesotan officials addressed the immense throng there. One orator was Senator Amy Klobuchar. She serves in the U.S. Senate. In Washington, D.C., she informed Rally attendees that myriad residents bombarded administrative lines. She noted such volume overwhelmed telephony, signifying inundated channels from anxious outpourings. Another orator was Representative Betty McCollum. She serves in the U.S. House of Representatives. She affirmed hearing from countless Minnesotans, and she assured the throng, "I sense I've heard from every one of you.